Hey guys, this is Coach Hallie, and this is the Iron Mobility Fitness channel. Today is one of our 12 days of holiday workouts, and we are on day 9. So today is going to be a spinal and neck mobility routine. It's going to be something quick just to get your body, your upper spine and neck relieved of tension, maybe get out of that slumped over desk posture so we can just release tension and decompress our spine. So we're going to be focused mostly on our upper spine and our neck, a little bit of our lower spine, but let's get started with some cat-cow. So you're going to come down on hands and knees and just set yourself up with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And here we go. We are going to start in flexion, full rounded position here, or like a cat pose from yoga. Just take a breath here, finding a big stretch from your tailbone all the way to the top of your head. And we're going to start from the tailbone and work our way up slowly into extension. So you want to think about going one vertebrae at a time and just undulating as smoothly as you can up into that full extension of your spine. Take a breath here. And then tailbone's going to initiate again, dropping down toward the floor slowly. Head stays up as long as you can and get back to that full flex position. So we're going to do one more rep like that, leading with the tailbone. So tailbone reaches up behind you, get into that lumbar extension, then mid-thoracic, upper thoracic, and then cervical extension. Take a breath, find a big stretch. Tailbone initiates to go back to that full flex position. Take your time and make it smooth. And then once we get back to that full flex position, we're going to do 2 rounds starting at our head now. So keep your tailbone facing down toward the floor and lift your head and gaze up first. Pulling your sternum through your shoulders, chest is reaching open. Then your rib cage will start to flare open toward the floor. Belly relaxes, and then tailbone reaches up behind you. And then from here, the chin is going to come down toward your chest, then push out of your shoulders. Rib cage draws in, lower abdominals draw up, tailbone drops down. And one more rep like that. Head initiates, pulling that chest through the shoulders. Find as much extension as you can. Tailbone reaches up behind you. Take a breath. And then chin comes down. And pulling that rib cage back in. Find that full flex position again. Just take one more breath here. And then we're going to come out of this position and go into some neck rotations. So just in a tall kneeling position, reach both arms down toward the floor and externally rotate through your shoulders so your palms are facing forward. You want to think about your rib cage staying wrapping in and back toward the back of your body to keep your T-spine stable. And we're going to bring our chin down to the center of our chest first. And then tracing to the right, we're going to sweep the chin along our collarbone toward our right shoulder joint. And just make sure that left shoulder isn't hiking up as you reach over with your head. And then dip your right ear back toward your right shoulder blade like you're trying to listen to it. Find a nice deep stretch here along the left side of your neck. And then look directly to the right, top of the head reaching up to the sky. And then you're going to start to lift your nose up to the top right corner of your space or your sky. And imagine you're tracing a rainbow all the way across with your nose. So moving through that cervical extension to the left side. Take a breath there. And then look directly to the left. Top of the head is reaching straight up. Dip the left ear back toward the shoulder blade. Take a breath there. And then chin reaches down toward the shoulder joint and trace your collarbone all the way back to the center. Pause here, just one in the opposite direction. So reversing, going to the left shoulder along the collarbone here. Take a breath. Then dip that left ear back toward your left shoulder blade. And then look directly to the left side, top of the head reaching up to the sky. And nose reaches up now. Again, tracing that rainbow across the sky. Smooth as you can, getting to that right top corner. Nothing else is moving in our bodies. Then look directly to the right side. Dip that right ear back toward the shoulder blade again. And then chin comes down toward the shoulder joint and trace the collarbone all the way back to the center. Nice. And then from here, we're just going to do a T-spine rotation once in each direction. So similar to the head and neck rotation we just did, only now we're moving from basically the bottom of our rib cage up to our collarbone is where we're going to focus on the movement happening. So cross your hands over your shoulders, draw your shoulders down away from ears, and then round into T-spine flexion, pulling the rib cage in and back. Take a breath. Now you're going to trace your elbows along your rib cage to the right side as far as you can. Your hips and pelvis are staying stable and centered. Then dip that right shoulder blade back toward your right back pocket. And then you're going to lift up the sternum and see if you can imagine like you're turning your chest directly to the right side. Then lift up even more into T-spine extension. And you're going to trace that rainbow with your sternum now, going all the way across to the left side, top left corner. Shoulders are still dropping down away from ears. And then dip that left shoulder blade back toward that left back pocket. Rotate to the left. And bring that rib cage into T-spine flexion again, pulling those elbows down and back. And rotate all the way to the center. Take a breath. We're just going to switch our hands. So the opposite hand is on top. Might feel a little funky. And we're going to go the opposite way. Here we go. To the left. Tracing smoothly across. And then see if you can look directly to that left side. And dip that left shoulder blade back toward that left back pocket. And then lift with the sternum. See if you can rotate even more to the left and then lift more into extension of the T-spine. Think that sternum is reaching out, the center of your chest reaching up and out. Trace with that rainbow all the way across to the right side, making sure our tailbone is still dropping down. We're not going into lower spinal extension. Our lumbar spine is stable. And then dip that right shoulder back toward the right back pocket, and then rotate directly to the right and round into flexion again of your T-spine and trace all the way back to the center. Lifting up, relax your arms. Awesome. We're going to go into a T-spine tail and rail next. So this is going to be basically an isometric engagement of our T-spine extension and then rounding in a more passive way into our T-spine flexion. Now you can sit back all the way on your heels with your feet flat if that feels accessible to you, or have your toes curled under, whichever way feels good. And you're going to have your hands just palms flat on the floor, spread your fingers out nice and wide from each other, and they're just about 3 to 4 inches in front of your knees. Now to start, we're going to move into as much T-spine or spinal extension as we can, just like in the cat-cow that we did, opening up the front of our body. And now I'm going to maintain this T-spine extension and drop my tailbone down, finding more of like a neutral position with my lumbar spine. So just a slight posterior pelvic tilt, my lower abs draw in a little bit, and we're going to hold here. Keep pulling my sternum forward, but tug my hands isometrically down and back on the mat as if I'm trying to pull my hands and the mat toward my knees. And then my rib cage is going to draw in as if my abdominal muscles are trying to do an abdominal crunch in and back, but my sternum is pulling forward. And we're going to just move in those two opposing directions. So rib cage and abs drawing in and back, hands drawing down and back, and my sternum drawing forward as much as I can. It should feel like contradictory movements that we're trying to do all at once. And we're going to hold. Think about getting to at least 75% of your maximum effort for today. Take one more breath here. And then just round everything into spinal flexion and you're gonna push your hands down and forward as if you're trying to push the mat away from you as you draw yourself into that full spinal flexion, making as much width in your shoulders, protracting through your scaps. Take one more breath here. And then just relax a little bit and move back into that full spinal extension position, just like we had before. Opening up, tailbone reaching up and back. Take a breath, and we're gonna do one more round of that. So here we go. We're gonna push down and back with our hands. We're gonna send our tailbone down toward the floor slightly. Lower abs will feel engaged. I'm gonna draw my rib cage in as I try to pull my sternum forward, and I'm actively trying to push away from the ground so I'm not sinking into my shoulders. And here we go. We're gonna build up to 100%, our greatest, safest effort for today. Really trying to pull that sternum through and forward as I'm drawing my rib cage and abs in and back. Hands are pushing down and tugging the mat backwards. You might feel your triceps and your serratus and your lats engaging here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release that and go into that full spinal flexion again, rounding as much as you can. Push your heels of your palms down and forward as if you're trying to create more space between your knees and your palms on the mat. Rib cage wrapping in and back. Take another 2 rounds of breath. Finding more space between your shoulder blades, more space between each vertebrae. Good. And then just go ahead, come out of that position. We're going to make our ways onto our stomachs into a prone position for an isometric T-spine extension. So for this, your feet are just going to be pointed, tops of your toes on the floor. You can have feet all the way together or hips with distance, whatever feels better for your low back. And we're going to start with just a nice neutral position with our palms flat on the ground. You want to draw your shoulders back away from the floor and down away from your ears. And now I'm going to send my tailbone down, finding a neutral pelvis so I'm not in extension of my lumbar spine. We want the pubic bone to be heavy and the tailbone to be drawing down toward our hamstrings. And then I'm going to push down through my hands and move into T-spine extension. So I'm thinking about engaging my upper back muscles, drawing my shoulders toward each other, and lifting my sternum up and forward away from the floor. Once we find this position, you can stay here with your hands on the ground, or you can hover your hands just a little bit off the floor, and we're going to hold 10 seconds. Thinking about the back of the neck staying long. So if you find that you're crunching the back of your neck, I want you to bring your chin closer toward your chest, not tucking it fully, but keeping length in the neck on all sides. Breathing here. 3, 2, 1, and just rest everything down. You can come down with one cheek to the side if you want, or your forehead flat on the floor, whatever you prefer. And we're going to just do one more rep like that. So prepare your position again, palms flat on the ground, draw those shoulder blades toward each other and away from your ears. Prepare your lower abdominal muscles in your pelvic position, and then pressing into the hands, lifting into T-spine extension. Most of our spine is on the ground, so from the rib cage up we're lifting, but from the rib cage down we are on the floor. So it's not like a full, upward dog position like in yoga. It's more of a cobra position where just our upper spine is working. You can lift those hands and hover them off the ground again if you'd like. Holding here. Trying to have the least amount of tension in your jaw and your face as possible. Lengthen that sternum out and forward. See if you can keep reaching out forward toward the top of your mat. 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Nice. And then we're just going to come onto hands and knees. Do one more little drill here for some rotation of our T-spine. And we're just going to bring our right hand underneath and our shoulder to the ground. And we're just gonna press this left palm into the floor and rotate as much as we can through our T-spine. And I'm gonna actively push this right hand, the back of my hand and wrist and arm, into the ground to help create a deeper stretch in the back of my shoulder blade. And we're just gonna hold and breathe. This should feel like a really good deep stretch. Try to keep your pelvis stable. You don't want to rock our hips off to the side. We want them to be centered. Take one more breath here. And then press down through that left hand to come all the way up. And we're just going to switch sides. So I'm going to bring that left arm underneath and behind my right wrist. Bring that shoulder blade down to the floor. Side of my head on the ground. I'm pushing through my right palm to rotate my chest open to the right. And then I'm going to also push my back of my left wrist and hand and back of this left arm into the floor as if I'm trying to push the floor away from my chest to get a really nice deep stretch. One more breath here. Push down through your right hand, come back up onto both hands. We're just going to take a downward facing dog, sending those heels up and back, and just relax your neck and jaw. You can walk your hands all the way back to your feet and just hang over your legs for a breath or two. And then just take your hands, relax them back toward the ground, and we're going to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, just stacking our body, center of gravity over our ankles and the center of our feet. Roll the shoulders back, stand tall. Take one more breath here. All right, guys, we did it. That's a nice little spinal and neck mobility routine. I hope it felt really good and that you enjoyed it. And make sure to subscribe to the Iron Mobility Fitness channel. We are doing these 12 days of holiday workouts. Again, this was day 9, so we are almost done. So make sure you're subscribed and you get notified for when the next video comes out. It'll be tomorrow with Coach Jeffrey. All right, guys, bye.